Call the April 2nd, 2026 Planning and Zoning pre-meeting to order. I'm assuming you're our presenter tonight.
I am. All right. New business, item 1A. This is a request for a 6-month extension of site plan approval for Caledonia Flats located at 211 Rushway. This is the apartment building with the little bit of retail space that is next to the Cambria Hotel. They were a little delayed due to the construction of the Cambria Hotel directly across the street, and the delivery of the mods that are being used to construct the building, just basically the individual pieces that are going to be put together to construct that hotel. Now that site is basically ready, they are ready to move forward with the Caledonia Flats property. They've already submitted 1 or 2 times for their construction plan approvals, which would reset their expiration date, but they're not quite ready to get that yet. So they're just asking for this 6-month extension to allow that to happen. They have not made any changes from the previous plan that was approved before, and staff is recommending approval of the extension.
Mr. Mayor.
Ethan, normally we just give them a year extension, don't we?
Yeah, we usually do a year. I think we've done 6 months before, not very often. Usually we do 1 year. So they've requested 6 months. If you want to give them a year, you can.
I'm going to make a suggestion is just do the 1 year, like just keep it.
Yeah.
Keep everything the same, and instead of trying, if something happens in 5 months or whatever, at least they have the 1 year. If they get it in 2 months, then it's nor here nor there. So I'm going to ask to make it a 1 year.
Okay. So here's what the site plan looked like. They got that little bit of retail over here in the corner. Down here, just off screen, is the hotel that's being built. If you've driven out past Caledonia, you've probably seen all the white, big structures that are there stacked on site. That's for the hotel. And they're using this site as kind of staging. So, and then here is the elevation of what that is going to look like. So, any other questions on this one?
Seeing none, go ahead.
All right. New business item 2A. This is a request for approval of a site plan for a storage building, outdoor material storage bins, and parking at 1414 Bryan Road. This site is currently being used by a landscaping contractor. They're proposing a 4,200 square foot storage building, kind of in the middle of the site. This would provide storage for all the equipment and materials that they're currently storing outdoors. The material storage bins would hold materials like gravel, mulch, dirt, things like that. And then they're also proposing a buffer yard and site-proof fence around the portion of the property that they will be using. They're not going all the way down the side property lines, just kind of the portion that they are currently using. This property, for just a little history on this property, it's been written up by code enforcement several times going back to 2024 for all sorts of things: debris on the site, weeds, tall grass, water runoff issues, improperly parked vehicles, parking in the grass, and a large storage container on site without a permit. Most recently, just a couple weeks ago, a stop work order was issued for them putting down gravel for a parking area without a permit. Gravel is not allowed for parking or driving surfaces by the code, so a couple issues with that there. So here's some of the photos. This is from August of 2024. You can see the storage container and kind of all the materials and just things that they've had stacked up out there. There's cars parking in the grass there. Again, from September 2025, same thing, just all sorts of stuff back there. From January of 2026. And then this is from March of this year. And you can see that area kind of towards the front of the site. near Bryan Road where they were putting in that gravel parking. So this plan will correct most of these code enforcement issues. The storage building will allow for vehicles, equipment, and some of those materials to be cleaned up and stored inside. Once that's done, they'll be required to get rid of the shipping container. They'll be required to pave the site, remove any gravel, and designate parking spaces for all of the buildings on site. They're proposing 2 drainage basins to help address the runoff issues, and then like I said, they're also proposing the buffer yard and site-proof fence along the north and south property lines adjacent to where their use is at now. Staff is recommending approval of this site plan with some of the following conditions. Relocate the material storage bins to be outside of the required 20-foot buffer yard. Provide parking calculations for all of the buildings. Provide parking spaces for all vehicles associated with the business. There shall be no parking on the grass. All materials and equipment shall be stored in the storage building. When the storage building has been constructed, the shipping container shall be removed from the site. And the area pictured where gravel has been placed and the stop work order has been issued has not been shown on the site plan. If parking is going to be proposed there, they will need to show it on the site plan and construction plans and must comply with all of the setbacks and buffer yard requirements. So here is the site plan. This here is the main storage building, so pretty close to the middle. And like I said, their buffer and site-proof fence they're proposing, it's only going up to where they are using. We do have another condition in there that if they do plan to use any of this, they will need to extend this buffer. And here is just a rendering of that building, and then you can see a little bit of the storage bins off to the side there. So, any questions on this one?
Mayor,
What's this zoned right now?
Right now it's zoned ag. They're not proposing to rezone it, so it would stay ag.
So the building, is it a metal shed?
It is. It's metal siding.
Do we not have something that says that if they're abutting residential property, it's got to be brick? Or a portion of it has to be brick?
I don't know if we do in the ag zoning. We can check that and see what that language says.
I would prefer you to check that because I know on commercial or with residential, it's got to be, if you're backing up to residential, it's got to be, portion of it's got to be brick. And I don't know if it's all brick or if it's, Stephanie?
We're checking that now.
Thank you.
I got a question on that.
Put your microphone on.
Sorry. Is the fence go all the way around, or is it part of the way?
So right now there's a portion of fence along here, but not much throughout the rest of the way. So right now the fence is along here, coming along the back of the building here, and then back up this side. So
Is that butt up against the residential? Is that the purpose of it? Is there a requirement we have of them, or are they offering this? They want to put the
this is part of the buffer yard requirements for plantings and site-proof fencing.
Okay.
So it's a 20-foot buffer yard with a certain amount of plantings and a site-proof fence.
Chairman,
Mr. Seymour,
a couple questions. One is, was this property in the county? And when did they annex into the city, and how did they annex? Did they annex as R1 or C2? How did they annex into the city?
Yeah, so this property was in the county for quite a long time and then was annexed, I'm not sure exactly when, but it was annexed as ag zoning. And it was just kind of grandfathered in. Our non-conforming uses code allows that to stay if it doesn't, if the use doesn't stop for more than 180 days, I want to say. And the owners of this property now bought it from the previous owners and pretty immediately kept that same use. So it's still considered to be grandfathered in.
And while we grandfather that in, we'll also grandfather in that they have to abide by city ordinance, meaning code enforcement.
Yeah.
And I'd hate to be one of those residents living with that in my backyard.
Yeah, we've,
That is disgusting that we've allowed that to even happen. They should
Yeah.
have cleaned that up and been a good neighbor to those people who are in them subdivisions around them.
we've gone back and forth with the property owner, and a lot of the adjacent neighbors have reached out to us as well, and we've tried to get as good of a plan as we can. I'm sure there's probably more that could be done.
What can we do more for a buffer yard? I know fencing, you can do that, you can do plantings, trees, and et cetera. Have we required anything like that? And is that a requirement for ag zoning?
Yeah, there's a requirement for that buffer yard for pretty much any non-residential use against a residential use, which is what the 20-foot buffer and all of the plantings and the site-proof fencing is in there for. If you want to require more, you guys can do that.
Well, I don't want to require any more than what the code requires.
They're showing what the code requires. If you want them to extend it all the way down.
Have you talked to
do that
these
now.
property owners personally?
I have talked to several of them, not all of them, but I've talked to maybe 4 or 5.
And are they receptive with getting the proper permits and the inspections?
Yeah, all the other adjacent property owners you're referring to?
No, I'm talking about this property here.
Oh, yeah,
Bringing this property up to code.
Yeah, they want to do it right, but at the same time they don't want to spend a ton of money. I mean, I'm sure any property owner, but I think from where we started to where we're at now, I think we have a pretty good plan.
So they are cooperating with the city. I mean, you said this
Yeah.
has been going on since 2024, so it's been a couple of years.
Yeah,
It's probably before that, before we actually wrote them up.
yeah. I'm not sure on all of the details regarding the code enforcement cases that are going on. When we talked to them about the gravel that they were putting in the front, they thought they were doing the right thing with not having parking on the grass. So we called them up and said, hey, you got this plan that's going through, just hold off. Let's get this through. We'll do the construction plans. We'll do it the right way. So they thought they were doing the right thing by not having parking on the grass. But we said we don't allow parking on gravel either. So,
That's correct, yeah.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner?
All right, a couple ones for you. So for code enforcement, have there been any complaints about noise?
Yeah, there have been complaints about noise, especially like in the wintertime when they're because they plow as well. So we've gotten complaints, and I've heard from several of the neighbors about the noise of them, loading salt and their trucks warming up and things like that. So yeah, we've gotten some from this property.
Okay, and then my other one is, I know it started as a lawn care company. The sign right outside the business says Nelson Land and Pool. Is pool an approved use in agricultural?
It's a good question, Spencer. Can you look at that as well? Putting him to work.
So we'll look at that one, but that's my concern, is the business is growing beyond what it was, originally designed to do, and now it's impacting the residents, hence all the code enforcement issues.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this site is the most appropriate place to, have a pool construction company.
Yeah, I'm not sure what extent of what portion of their business is the pools versus the landscaping. From what I can tell, the majority of it is the landscaping and a small portion is the pools, but I'm sure the applicant would be able to explain that a little more, so.
All right, thank you.
Spencer?
We do not have a land use category just for pools.
So if I'm, let's say I'm just a pool construction company that builds pools, would I typically be in like a commercial or industrial or a mix, or?
We'd have to look up construction companies.
Yeah, we'll look through the land use chart, and after the pre-meeting, we'll get with you.
Okay, thank you.
In response to the mayor's question, under section 400.523 of the municipal code, in all areas that are zoned ag, metal siding may be used on the exterior of any building or structure.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this particular item?
One more.
Mr. Mayor?
Do we know what they'll be putting in the storage bins?
They haven't specifically said.
The storage bins that you showed didn't look very big.
No, I would assume it's just materials that they'll, load and unload, like salt in the winter, mulch, dirt, gravel, things like that, that they would use in association with doing the landscapes. So that's what we know.
Seeing no other questions, go ahead.
Hold on.
Excuse me, down on the far end.
So can we find out what they're going to put in there? Because if part of it being a pool construction company, what if they're not going to tell us and they're going to start storing bags of chlorine or bottles of chlorine, and next thing you know, we've got a hazardous incident?
Yeah, there are requirements in the code about storing, materials like that. But yeah, you can definitely ask them during their portion of the meeting what they're going to be storing in there. So.
Go forward.
Okay. All right, new business, item 3A. This is a request for approval of a site plan for Frank Lita Honda located at 520 Auto Mall Drive. They are proposing, to construct a 261 space vehicle storage lot for the auto sales right next door. Approximately a little less than half the lot is being reserved for future development. This property has also been written up by code enforcement for parking on an unimproved surface multiple times, going all the way back to 2020. They put in a gravel lot without approval, so that has gone back and forth with code enforcement, things like that. This plan will remove all of that gravel and provide a paved parking surface. So here's what that looked like just as recently as January of this year. So. Staff is recommending approval of the site plan with some of the following conditions: stamp and sign the plan, provide the lot coverage calculations, and then provide typical pavement sections for all types of pavement. And then just gets into some of the specifics of what we require there. So here's the plan that they've got now. Kind of right here is that existing gravel area in that picture. And then the car dealership is down here with technology further down from there. So. Just this shaded area is what they're proposing now. They have this striped as a future expansion. So just that shaded area is what they're wanting to do now. Any questions?
Seeing none, go ahead.
Okay. Next is new business items 4A, 4B, and 4C. Is there a request for a rezoning and site plan for property at 811 North Main Street? They are proposing to rezone the property from R1 single-family residential to C2 general business district to allow for a plumbing contractor and a health services office. The site plan would create a couple additional parking spaces on the site just to allow to have enough parking for both of those uses there. After applying for the site plan, the applicant started a portion of this work without the proper approvals. Therefore, corrective actions may be required. We're not sure what all was done there. So, staff is recommending approval of the rezoning with no conditions. And we're also recommending approval of the site plan with some of these conditions. Provide proof showing that any concrete work completed after the site plan application complies with city code. Make any required corrections if it does not meet code. And then to provide some ADA details, such as what the slopes are, detention, slope extends for the parking. The plans need to show how the connection from the sidewalk to the building. Right now, this is what they're showing, but that's right in the kind of apron of concrete that they're proposing to put in, so they'll need to relocate that and show how that's going to connect to the sidewalk properly. So, so here's the site plan. Like I said, they're putting in some spaces up here, additional concrete here for a commercial width entrance, and then widening this drive aisle and adding some parking back here. So, any questions on this one?
Did you issue a stop work order for this work that was in progress? And if so, did they comply with that?
I don't know if we issued a stop work order. I know we went out there and and told them to stop. I don't know if it was a full stop work order, but yeah, they have stopped.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, go forward.
All right, new business items 5A and 5B. This is a request for a final plan for Caballo Farms, 276 lot subdivision west of Harvest. The property is currently being annexed into the city. They're working through that process right now. Zoned R1 PUD. We handle that with the area plan. The proposed subdivision has 3 types of lots, 60 foot to 40 foot in width, all single family homes. And then they're also proposing an amenity area with a playground and a pavilion. They did make a small change from the area plan. They removed a couple lots down here to avoid some of the creek bank setbacks, and reworked this area up here. This used to terminate in a cul-de-sac here, and they're now proposing a T turnaround here, and they added those 2 lots up here. This property here that kind of goes off screen, they also have come under contract for that property, but they weren't able to include it with this just due to the timing of when they got it. So at some point in the future, they're going to come back and propose to extend this and have some homes on this side of the street extension. So that's the only change that they have made in this plan. Staff is recommending approval of the final plan with some of the following conditions. We have a condition about the Fish and Wildlife Service for the Indiana bat habitat. That's a pretty long comment, so I'm not going to read all of that. No building permits or occupancy permits will be issued for lots impacted by the floodplain until the LOMAR has been approved. If construction of the home has begun and there are changes to the LOMAR that requires changes to the construction, no variances will be issued. And then all lots in the floodplain or removed from the floodplain will be required to have an elevation certificate before occupancy. So once again, here's the whole plan. We are still working out the location of Deer Road here as well. That's a condition that we still have. And then again, here's that section that they tweaked a little bit. So any questions on this one?
Mr. Nutter.
Can we go back a screen there?
Yeah.
We talked about the conditions. What's the potential liability for the builder with item number 1 here, not taking any?
Yeah, so they're claiming that they don't want to do the study, or that they don't have to do the study because there's not federal money involved. This comment basically says if you decide not to do the study and then it's found that there is that habitat there and it's been disturbed, that the city is not taking any responsibility for that. It's all on the developer.
I understand that, but what's the potential liability? How much money's involved with that?
That I don't know. I'm not sure what. I've never worked directly with the Fish and Wildlife Service regarding this. This is usually something our engineering department handles. So I'm not sure what the penalties of that would look like. I don't know if Todd here has any insight on that, but I do not.
As far as any type of penalties or fines, I couldn't say what the Department of Natural Resources would do. I mean, it depends on the disturbance, the type of disruption. I'm not exactly sure. It would be on them to do that.
So yeah, we're basically saying that if they move forward without doing the study and there are problems, it is their responsibility and not the city's, because we've recommended that they do this. So,
Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. So they came to us before, and you'd mentioned that they needed to resolve Deer Road all the way down the back of the property, and now they're coming back and they haven't adjusted that, but they've taken some lots off of it. What's the holdup on getting that done?
The county is not quite sure what they want that alignment to be. We've been talking with the county. The developer's been talking with the county. It sounds our blanking on the name of it, but our plan for the future of the roads, what we envision it to look like, shows Deer Road going straight kind of all the way out to Z. Now it sounds like the county might want to swing this up towards Highway N, but they're not sure. They're still looking at that and if that's the route they want to go. So right now, we just have a standard sort of condition to continue working with staff regarding what that alignment's going to look like. If it goes all the way through their side, I think we would want them to build it now. And if it curves off of their site, they would need to build whatever portion of Deer Road is on their property. So we're kind of just waiting on the county to make a decision.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Yeah.
Commissioner Seymour.
I've got a follow-up question there. So if this is, how does this affect the subdivision?
With Deer Road?
Yeah.
It shouldn't, as far as when they're going to construct this portion or swing it out. The only access to this portion off of Deer Road is from right here, and they're going to be constructing, this portion regardless of where that route is going to be. So if houses start getting built and people are living there when they have to come through and build the rest of it, there will be some, I guess, noise disturbances with construction, but that land is being set aside either way. So it's not like they're going to take people's backyards to put the road in.
Well, I wouldn't think, but
Yeah.
My main question is, who's going to be responsible for building that road? Will it fall upon the city to do that, or is it developer going to do that?
It'll be on the developer.
Either which way that road goes.
Yeah, it'll be on the developer to build any portion past right here where they're ending it. Any portion on their property, they would be responsible for building that.
So they own all the property going over to the,
Yeah, they own all this property along here. If the county decides they want it to extend the way it's shown here, all the way along the north of this property, they'd have to build that whole thing. If they want it to, come to here and then curve up, they'd have to build, this portion of it that's on their property. So that would fall on the developer.
okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yep, sure.
Any other questions? Seeing none, go ahead.
Okay. All right, last one here is item 6A and 6B. This is a request for approval of an amended area plan for the villages of Springhurst, Plat 3 and 5. The applicant is proposing to construct 2 buildings with 24 units. The original area plan approved in 2004 proposed 4 buildings with 12 units. So it's the same number of units total. It's just 2 buildings versus 4. While it hasn't been confirmed by the developer, we believe that these are for sale condo units. And the parking lots for this proposed plan are existing. That was constructed, but then for whatever reason, the buildings were never built. Staff is recommending approval of the amended area plan with some of the following conditions. Clarify whether the development will remain as 2 lots or be consolidated into 1. Revise the trash enclosures to be consistent with the architectural theme of the primary structure, and provide separate details for each variation of trash enclosure, and move the proposed carport locations on the northeast portion of the property and throughout the property to not interfere with the lighting. They can also relocate the lights. So this is the layout. They're originally planning kind of one building here with maybe 20 feet in between and then another building, and then same over here. This is now just one building and another building. So same number of units, just consolidating the buildings. Like I said, these parking lots are here. None of the carports are there. And like we had mentioned, they're showing, a light pole right here where the covered parking is. And that's just going to cast shadows over all the parking. Same here. That's not really going to put much light on the ground. So we want them to revise that. And here's a picture of the type of building they're going to build. We've asked for elevations of each side, but so far we just have this picture of another building that they've built. So any questions on this one?
Seeing none, thank you.
All right, And that's all we got.
If anyone in the audience would like to participate in the public hearing comment section, you need to fill out a comment card found over the back rear of the building, turn it in before the meeting starts. We'll start the meeting at 7:05. Thank you.
Where do you turn them in at?
Right here. Call the April 2nd, 2026 Planning and Zoning meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Vice Chairperson Nunnery,
Present.
Chairperson Thomas,
Excused.
Mayor Hennessy,
Present.
Councilman Cascella,
Excused.
Commissioner Seymour,
Present.
Commissioner Nager,
Present.
Commissioner Baust,
Present.
Commissioner Heath,
Present.
Commissioner Link,
Present.
Commissioner Eggmeyer,
Present.
Commissioner Holting,
Excused.
Commissioner Hawbaker,
Present.
Commissioner Lammert.
Present.
Mayor, would you lead the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just as an administrative item, if you're going to speak tonight during the public hearing on Bryan Road or any other item for that matter, you have 3 minutes, so you need to think about what you're going to say before you come up, because you will be limited to 3 minutes per the instructions on the reverse side of the speaker's card. We have an agenda in front of you, members. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Tennessee.
Second, Seymour.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. I'll vote. Please press your pads.
Voting is closed.
Motion passes. First item is citizen comments. This is for any item that does not have a public hearing. We've had one person that filled out a comment card, A.C. Dienoff.
Good evening, members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff, City Public Advocate running for City Council next Tuesday. A couple issues I want to go over is between C and D, we're missing the approval of the March 2026 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes. It's a violation of good government meeting practices, violation of Chapter 89 and Chapter 610 of the revised state statutes, and also violates the Robert Rules of Order, which the city has adopted in the governance of the meetings. It's not transparent to the public. A couple issues that I want to go over that are on the agenda tonight. Number 1A for Rush Way, 211 Rush Way. I'm opposed to the apartment complex. It's a bad project. I'm opposed to giving them a 6-month extension. I heard the mayor in the workshop say he wants to offer them a 1-year extension. Guess what? If they don't have their financing and their money in order, they shouldn't be able to build here in O'Fallon, and we don't need any more multifamily apartments at this time. We are overtaxed with multifamily apartments currently that are just way over the price market. Number 3A is 520 Auto Mall Drive for Frank Lita Honda. I want to make sure that those 261 spaces for storage, that it's landscaped properly and that they have proper water detention, retention to meet our M4 specifications, both at the state, the county, and the local level. The final issue that I'll talk about under citizen comments, because it doesn't have a public hearing, and it really should, because the majority of the people behind me are here to talk about and oppose 1414 Bryan Road, Nelson Real Estate LLC, to turn into be a nightmare for this community, for this neighborhood. There are problems with this commercial site that have not been addressed. The city council recent public testimony brought up noise, brought up videos during the winter, operations at all hours of the night, which need to be homed in and tapped down to make them comply with our codified ordinances. This issue needs to be done correctly, appropriately, and responsibly. They need correct parking, striped pavement, ADA, correct legal sidewalks, tree pruning on the property line with the neighbors, landscaping along Bryan Road, photometric lighting that doesn't interfere with the backs of the residents' homes, proper screening, a proper fence that is in good condition and good materials. And finally, a lot of the materials, I understand there's fertilizer that's out in the open when it rains. It's being discharged onto other properties. I think the Department of Natural Resources maybe needs to be called to come in and do an investigation, because
Mr. Dana,
that deals with a lot of environmental issues. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Next person is Steve Williams. The Bryan Road item does not have a public comment section, so we're taking the comments during general comments.
Hi, my name is Steve Williams. I live at 1256 Clinton Hill Court. First thing I would like to know is, any of the members here ever visited 1414 Bryan Road? One member? That's it? Okay. Well, I wrote this down so I don't forget anything. I'd like to tell you all about all the times Nelson Land and Pool has disturbed us. But it would take hours. It really would. It might take days. So I'll tell you what we see in here. We're retired now. So I retired last year, so I really hear them now this year. We see large trucks delivering materials, fuel trucks, mulch trucks loading mulch with heavy equipment all day long, in and out, up till almost 7 o'clock at night. And then they go out and work. And they come in, well, just this week, 9 o'clock. So anyway, they have a full-time mechanic working there. So it's all day long we hear noise. He's working on equipment, lawnmowers, trucks. You hear impact wrenches, just et cetera, et cetera. It just goes on. Then we get to the salt. They ran for 24 hours a day for 3.5 days this last time. I called the police. They still ran. They disobeyed the law. He could care less about the law. So they come in with the lights flashing the whole time. They got the yellow lights going while they're loading, driving around the buildings. They're loading with heavy equipment. That's very noisy. They're back there with the buckets going bang, the bang, the bang, the bang, the bang. And this is all night long. I think I told you at the meeting, Mr. Mayor. They woke me up at 3. I got back at 5:45. I fell back asleep. 6:30, the owner wakes me up, loading up. Then he went home after he loaded his truck. You know, so this is the nonsense that's constant. I have hours of video on Nelson, pre-dawn, late at night, during the day hours. And I think all my neighbors, how many neighbors came from Clinton Hill? Stand up that live around. Everybody stand up that live around this company. This is only half the people showed up, not even half the people, okay? They hear everything I hear. They have to put up with it. Nothing, you know, it just goes on. He don't listen to anybody. Let's see.
Mr. Williams, your time is up.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, I would like to invite all of you to my residence.
Thank you.
Okay?
Steve Keller.
name's Steve Keller. I live at 30 Clear Meadows Court. I border the property on Bryan Road there. Our backyard and side yard border the property, and I'd like to continue what was just started here. So all of that, he said, also wakes up my kids. Their bedrooms back up to all these lights and noise. In addition, we moved in. It was a nice tree farm, and it changed when Nelson purchased the property. We had to purchase 14 7-foot pine trees to back up to our yard to try to screen out some of this. So we spent over $20,000 just to try to block out some of this, looking at this and the noise. In addition, I don't know, our subdivision rules, we can't even leave a trash can on the side of our house, yet they drag a washing machine out the back of the door and wash their clothes and just let it spill onto the patio. And there's people out there doing this. There's garbage in the yard. There's all the salt. I mean, it's a mess. And we hear this all the time too. So, I mean, I don't know what else to add, but other than, you know, whatever rules and regulations we have aren't enforced. You know, I was at the 3 prior meetings where this was asked to be rezoned. And, you know, what I'm worried about is if this building is constructed and then this is the first step into making it zoned as commercial, then what happens? You know, does it continue to grow and make it bigger and worse for everybody in the neighborhood? So that's where I stand is we need to clean up the property, but enforce the regulations to make this property fit into those regulations.
Next person is Ted Burt.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to come here and speak to you. I would like to start by saying that my wife and I moved into our home in January of 2022. Shortly after we moved in, within a few months, Nelson Land actually moved into the property at 1414 Bryan Road. So over the time from probably March, April of 2022 up until today, we have witnessed this property continue to just go downhill. The passive trash refuse from their jobs, they tear out, they bring it back, they dump it in big piles. I've got a really nice covered patio on the back of my house that I really like. I really want to enjoy in the summertime. But my site, when I'm sitting out there, is that ugly shipping container and all those piles of refuse that sit there all summer long. So I'm not opposed to free enterprise. I have nothing personal against Mr. Nelson, but what I'm opposed to is the lack of compliance to city ordinances, their neglect of the property, and what I deem to be their disconcern with the neighboring properties. And I'm really afraid that if this is not addressed and it's not controlled, then what it's going to do to all of us that live in Glenmore Estates and all of the people that live in Amber Meadows, the property values are going to devalue. And nobody wants to see that happen. So whatever your decision is, like I said, I'm not opposed to free enterprise, and I'm not opposed to what he does. I'm opposed to where it's at. I think in the middle between two well-established neighborhoods, residential neighborhoods, that was there long before Nelson Land moved in, I don't think it's the right place for that business. I think he's got a good business, but there's a different place it should be. So whatever decision you would make, I just hope that you keep in mind that I don't think any of you sitting here would want to sit on your patio at the back of your house and look at what we have to look at. And like I said, we've watched this degrade over almost 4 years. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next person is Donald Grisina, and I probably just mispronounced that altogether.
Yes, my name is Donald Grisina. I live next door to the gentleman that just spoke, and I share much of his concern about the owner and the property that's adjacent to our properties. I've lived there since we built the home in '99. We moved in '99. The previous owner was really deficient in trimming his side of our property line. High weeds grew up between diseased trees on, frankly, on our property line. And I went out and talked to him a couple of times. It doesn't matter. It didn't help our relationship at all. Mr. Nelson and his people have done the same thing. I've been looking at weeds that are taller than I am now for at least the 4 years that he's been here and many years before that. I'd like to see something done about that. I'd also like to mention that since Mr. Nelson has started working his property there, I have had consistent marsh-like conditions in my backyard from runoff. So I'm very much concerned that if you're going to approve that property, I'd like to see retention pond and drainage issues addressed. In 2020, I paid $22,000 to have my basement repaired because of excessive water in my backyard. So anything that this city can do to bring this property owner into line is going to be appreciated by myself and my wife. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Next person is Paul Bellick.
Good evening, gentlemen. I live in Amber Meadows. My name is Paul Vleck. I live at 1525 Bayberry Meadows. Some of the pictures that were put up earlier in the pre-meeting were actually taken at the end of my street. So what you saw is what I see on a daily basis and what all these residents see on a daily basis. Looking at the plan that's out there, I see where they want to put a new fence. It needs to go around the entire property if it's going to be approved. Yes, everyone is going to see the building because it's going to be a tall building, but anything is going to be better than what it is right now. They do need to clean up their property. The shipping container is atrocious. I feel sorry for the people that it backs up to their house. At least I see grass and trash and everything else, the trailers. And it's amazing, as tonight that I come here, most of their trailers are out. They're gone, probably because they're doing work because grass is growing like mad. But they need to do something. I see that it has already been approved, or you guys have pre-approved it. I think there needs to be some other discussion. The other problem they have with their property is there's two dead-end streets. One is on my end, one's on the other side. The public, O'Fallon people, like to cut across there. Kids, not a big deal. But when you have side-by-sides, golf carts, someone is going to get hurt. Who's going to be liable? They are. So something needs to be done. I'm tired of golf carts and side-by-sides going through my yard. Once this week, I've got video of it. It's on Facebook. I'm sure my residents have seen it. It's terrible. So if we could do something, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker that's filled out a comment card is Amanda Taylor.
Good evening, and thank you all for your time. I'm Amanda Taylor at 1264 Clinton Hill Court, and I'm here tonight as a concerned resident for the second agenda item, Nelson's Land and Pools, that directly borders my own home. And so I have first-hand experience with what my neighbors and I have been living with. So Nelson's operates on a property that's zoned agricultural, and it was approved as a lawn care service, which is a low-impact use that is appropriate with the agricultural zoning. However, from what I experienced and have even read on the company's own website, that a business that they started as this small lawn care service has since grown into a much larger operation that includes construction, pool construction, snow plowing, including the use of a fleet of large trucks and salt loading equipment. So which was once this low-impact service has evolved into this high-intensity commercial operation. And as you know, this type of activity is not permitted in agricultural district without a conditional use permit, which this operation does not have in place right now. So the expansion of this business has significantly increased traffic, noise, and overall operation intensity, exactly the type of impact that requires a CUP under the city's own code, which does not have, meaning the current operation that's going on is being conducted outside of what has even been permitted by the city. And beyond zoning, the real-world impacts on residents, as you heard tonight, are substantial. We're dealing with not only daytime and disruptions, but nighttime activity. Salt trucks being loaded at all hours of the night, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, waking neighbors whose homes are a little over 50 feet away from this. There's also a clear traffic impact. Large trucks frequently enter and exit the property. I've heard even complaints from our neighbors across Bryan Road from this, that their trucks often block and slow traffic, making it difficult for them to safely leave their neighborhoods, especially during the morning rush hour. So the site plan being proposed tonight, the additional parking and storage would only intensify these current problems. And approving the site plan would not bring the property into compliance. Instead, it would reward ongoing non-compliance and allow further expansion of a use that is incompatible with the surrounding residential area. So this evening, I respectfully ask that this commission uphold the integrity of the city's own zoning code and deny the site plan and expansion proposed. Thank you for your time and consideration.
With that, I'll close the public comment, citizen comments. We'll go to new business. We have no old business. First item is Caledonia Flats, request for consideration and motion for action on extension of approval of a site plan for Caledonia Flats, 211 Rush Way, Caledonia Real Estate LLC, contract purchaser. Proposed use, a 6-month extension of a site plan approval for a multi-family development with first floor retail. Do we have someone to present this to the commission? If you give us your name and address, please.
My name is Jeff Schreier, 4 Research Park, St. Charles, Missouri, 63304. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Commission. We are here tonight requesting an extension. As Ethan explained, first let me correct, we're not a contract purchaser no more. Caledonia Real Estate owns the property. And even though what was said in the public or citizen comments section, this is not because of financing. Caledonia Real Estate plans to build what was approved last year. Last June, we actually submitted grading plans, got them approved in July, graded the lot, getting ready for it. As a hotel, which Caledonia Real Estate is also building, is kind of a unique build with the mods being built up in Minnesota and being shipped down. That company was storing those mods up in Minnesota. They could no longer store them up there, so we started bringing them down, putting them on this site and other areas if you've driven by there, and we're trying to find other areas. Those are going to start being erected in early May. So then this site will be cleared and ready to go for what's approved on this site plan. Improvement plans were submitted to the city in February. We received comments on the 17th of March, and then the engineer responded within a week back to the city. So they're back in the city, hopefully to be approved any week now is what we're hoping. So I'm just here to answer any questions. I drew the short straw to come here tonight, but so.
Mr. Mayor?
Well, as I said in the pre-meeting, it's very unusual that we do a 6-month extension. It's always basically a year extension. You know, and I understand, you know, you won't need the 6 month, but I just don't want to really set a precedent And, so I'm just gonna make a motion to change the 6-month to a 1-year extension.
That's fine. When I
Just in case something happens or something that,
when I was asked to come up here and speak about this, when I saw that, I was like, well, that was odd. But
yeah.
I'll second that.
Well, we're still having, in the questioning standpoint, hold your second, please. Any other questions from any of the members of the commission? Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to Vice Chair, just make a motion to approve for staff recommendation, and instead of the 6 months, make it 1-year extension.
Second, Charlie Nagar.
I'm not going there. We have a motion and a second for a request for consideration, motion for action on extension of approval of site plan for Caledonia Flats, 211 Rush Way, Caledonia Real Estate LLC, contract purchaser. Proposed use 6-month extension of site plan approval for multifamily development with first floor retail. Cast your votes, please.
Voting is closed.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Next item on the agenda is 1414 Bryan Road. Request for consideration, motion for action on the site plan for 1414 Bryan Road. Nelson Real Estate LLC, property owner. Proposed use, internal storage and parking addition. Do we have someone to present this to the commission? If you'll give us your name and address, please.
Jamie Ensign, Sterling Engineering, 5055 New Baumgartner Road, St. Louis, Missouri, 63129. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission. 1414 Bryan Road, a lot of discussion on that tonight. But we are here to propose a site plan. This is a existing agricultural site, zoned agricultural. This is the existing property. The original property is 5 acres, 5 acres going out to the center line of Bryan Road, 4.8 or something like that at the right-of-way. This is the view from Bryan Road. All the proposed improvements, except for a small parking area, are proposed to be behind the existing structure that you see here. Here's an overview of the proposed improvements. We've got the red area right here is our proposed building, say 4,200 square foot storage building. We're proposing a small parking lot up here, and it's shown in yellow. Some concrete storage bins, and we have moved those back out of that 20-foot buffer area. We're also proposing a detention area out in front to collect water runoff from not only the existing structure but the proposed parking lot. And we have another proposed detention area behind the proposed new building. And all of the gravel area that's existing there today is to be removed and replaced with asphalt. We're also proposing a trash enclosure off to one side of the building, and that will be completely fenced and enclosed. This is a rendering showing the new building here, the concrete storage bins to be placed. This is an existing structure to remain, and this is an existing structure. A rendering of the front. So these will be 4 garage openings, and we will have loading zones out in front of the building here. Another view of the same. Top view, this will be steel roof with metal siding. Concrete storage bins to handle material. Existing conditions and the site plan that you've seen. We show a 20-foot landscape buffer with a privacy fence all along the north and south lines. Staff has recommended that we also show street trees along Bryan Road, which we'll be happy to do. So with that, I'm open to any questions.
Mr. Mayor?
You ready for all this? All right. Storage bins, number 1. You need to move them somewhere else. You cannot put them storage bins against those residents. You got them straight up against those residents, and when they're loading and unloading, that's going to bother those residents. So, 1, you need to find some place to put those storage bins.
Okay. We can pull those storage bins closer into the new building.
They need to be away from the residents.
Okay.
Now, with your storage shed, I would like for you to think about putting brick on the side of that storage shed that faces both sides of the subdivision. Normally, if you're in a commercial lot and you're building a building, but since it's agriculture, I wish you'd just rezone it to C2 and you'd have to put the brick on there. I would like to see brick around that storage shed.
I'll propose that to the owner.
What are you putting in those storage sheds? Or the storage bins?
The storage bins, I assume it would be mulch, landscape material, possibly salt for winter time.
Problem is with the salt, that's going to run into, if you put those up against those residents' houses and that salt, and it rains or whatever, that's going to run into those folks' yard and ruin their yards. I know there's a condition on there that you need to make sure that the water runoff goes into the detention pond. The last thing, for the one gentleman that spoke about the fence, I would like to see you put the fence all the way around your property.
Okay. I think that's acceptable.
I mean, that stops the golf carts going through there, and that just blocks everything off of the views. And you might want to go with somebody else, because I may have more.
Yes, sir. Mr. Seymour?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mayor, I would like to ask that no permits be issued on this site until everything is brought up to compliance. I cannot believe you've been in violation of the city ordinance for 2 years. I'd already had you in court. And you need to clean that site up. I've been over there, I've seen that site.
I understand.
And it needs to be
I'm
cleaned
not the
up.
owner of the site. I'm here presenting a site plan. I do understand your concern.
And Mr. Seymour, that was going to be my next point that just found, so.
Sorry, sir.
That's all right.
Real quick.
No, this is not a public comment.
Well, I think she's the owner.
Are you the presenter? Okay, what's your name and address?
Stephanie Nelson, I'm the owner, 1414 Road. My husband and I own Nelson Land Service. Sorry, we are the owners. As far as being non-compliant for the past couple years, we have worked tirelessly with the city, with engineering and planning. We've had multiple people come out and tell us what we need to do to be compliant. And it has been a constant, nonstop comments, emails back and forth, no follow-up. So what we have been trying to do, we can't do because we are not getting a response from any one of you. The storage container that I know these people have complained about, we've been trying to get taken care of. But the city won't get back to us on getting everything else done that we need to do. So we are willing to do whatever needs to be done. Yes, we do own a landscape company. Yes, I know people are complaining about the noise, and we do understand that. You know, the snow removal, I understand. It happens a couple times during the winter. It's not an every night, 7-day-a-week thing. It happens during snow events. Yes, we do get mulch delivered during the day. We do have fuel delivered, and we really are doing our best. We haul stuff constantly, which is why there's a dump truck. Understand it can be noisy, but we have been working on this for 16, 18 months with the city. I have multiple emails that I can provide to any one of you on how this conversation has been back and forth for so long. So I am standing here today as the owner. I have the engineer here. He's gone over everything. We are willing to do whatever we need to do to comply. We just need you guys to give us some answers instead of this back and forth that's been going on for a year and a half. If you can do that, then we can move on and do what needs to be done.
Madam, with all,
Wait a minute, Mr. Mayor.
No, go ahead, Curtis.
he said, okay. Madam, with all due respect, this is not the city's problem. The city didn't create this problem. Okay? Now, I do share your concerns. I don't know why the city hadn't gotten back with you, but Mr. Woods, can you answer that question?
You know, I don't necessarily agree with the statement that we haven't been getting back. I think the plans have changed. I mean, we had a plan come in before where they were building a home in the back, and we were going back and forth on that. But we have written a ticket for the storage container, and we were going to let that go for a while until this building got built, thinking this would be an improvement over what's there. But as far as getting back, I don't remember it that way. I don't believe that's true. I think, you know, we've been working with Jamie and his crew, the engineering company, working through comments up until just late last week, trying to get this plan cleaned up as much as we could. And then we come to find out that they were putting in a new parking lot that wasn't even shown on the plan. So I think we just want to get some kind of resolution. I think getting a plan approved so we can move forward with something is what
Did you
this
issue a stop work order, sir?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And did they stop work?
That was issued probably last Wednesday, Thursday, and I haven't heard anything more about work being done since then.
And you've repeatedly since 2024 have cited them for issues on their property.
I definitely remember the storage container coming up. I don't remember anything with the grass or weeds or anything like that, but that's the one I know off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Let them other ones go.
Go ahead.
If I could, just for perspective, one of the residents shared a video from their backyard of the noise, and I'd just like to play that here. Try and get the distance right. I know the mics are sensitive. But they hear this every day, in and out.
You know what? I can't disagree with that. I mean, when we bought it was agricultural. I mean, and we bought, I mean, it was a landscape company there when we bought it. He had a tree farm and he owned a lawn care and landscape company. We bought mowers from him, so I know that is correct. Provide any sort of paperwork that needs to be shown for that. He was on a smaller scale, yes. We are on a bigger scale. And we have tried to keep things, the noise level to a minimum. But when we bought that, I mean, we bought it because we could run our business out of there. And yes, we do understand these complaints. And again, we are willing to do whatever needs to be done to comply. We are just, again, we started on the parking lot for the Rock, which we were told needed to be done, and then we got called saying that we needed to stop. So we just need to have this really, an actual clear line of communication on what's getting approved and when we can start so that we can make this more convenient for the neighbors. And yes, getting a fence up, if we need to do that, we will do that and understand that. We've tried planting some other trees along the side to help with noise. Again, these are just things that we have done But yes, I mean, we do own a landscape business, and yes, I mean, I do know that, it does get noisy.
I think what would go a long way is if you can demonstrate code compliance with your site as it currently is before we'd start to improve something that could escalate your level of operations.
Commissioner Bass?
The stuff that we have been told that we need to do to comply, we have reached out, we have done. The parking lot was one of them, which is what we started to do, and then we're told we had to stop. We have, anything that we have been told, we have worked on, we have discussed with the city. We have not just sat there and been like, oh, well, no big deal. We've not done any of that. We have been compliant. It's just been a nonstop back and forth.
Commissioner Bass?
First of all, I think it's great to see a business growing and branching off and doing things, but you also have to consider who you're surrounded with and put yourself in their shoes if that was your home. And I think the concern that I have with those residents is you didn't seem to have that lack of compassion for those residents that you're by. In letting your condition of your property get that way, and then now finally looking to take the step forward, what's your commitment to those residents around you that you're going to maintain this new quality of as a sound business partner next to residential neighborhood?
So I'm going to answer that in two parts. Number one, yes, we have realized how much we have grown. And, I'm sure many of you know, land is expensive, especially when you need multiple buildings. It has been something that we have been looking at for the past year because we realized we have grown tremendously. Again, for a lot of money. So, we are on a great piece of land, great piece of property. Again, I have dealt personally with some other residents that have complained. We have put up a fence. We have put up trees to help. The best that we can do is if we are able to do this storage so we can store the stuff properly. I know there was remark about fertilizer being left out in the open. It is stored inside a building. That is not correct. I mean, yes, it gets hauled. I'm sure it gets dropped. I'm not saying that, but it is stored safely. The salt is in a bin that has, proper structure, holes to keep it from runoff. And to answer the question about what would be in the other bins, would be mulch, would be dirt, and probably some stone, rock for small landscape jobs. We plan on storing the salt safely. The fertilizer is stored safely. And again, as far as getting the trash enclosure, that would help us tremendously because, we do. And we have hauling spaces that we take, but we do have a lot of debris that comes in. And so, yes, it does get left there for a couple days. I'm not denying that. And we really do our best to get it hauled out, get it cleaned up, a couple days. We do have someone that stays at the shop all day. Yes, he is the mechanic, but we also have someone else, that does the other things, that tries to clean up. But, yeah, we do. We have multiple crews. We have 10, 15 trucks out of there. So, yes, it is something that I do understand what you are saying. And yes, if it were me, I'm not saying that any of these people are wrong. Like, I'm sure it is a nuisance, and we do, we're not doing it intentionally. Obviously not doing it to, make their lives miserable, because we're really not. And this is what we're trying to do with this plan, is to make it to where the fence, more trees, so our runoff is not going anywhere. The buildings look nicer to make, so they can sit out on their porch and they can enjoy their backyard.
Thank you. Is there any thought on the trash enclosure being halfway down the property? I mean, my count says 21 homes around your property, and then removing that trash would be early hours of the morning, and the trash enclosure is all the way towards the back of the property, which means that it's going to affect every one of those residents in the pickup of the trash.
What would be I'm seriously, this is a serious question, a recommendation on where to be the best place to put the trash enclosure?
I mean, I would think if it was up towards the front, it would affect less people as towards the back of your subdivision. I mean, you got to have a trash enclosure, right? But moving it up towards closer to the front of the building would allow it to affect less people in the back of the building.
Okay.
And then you mentioned you're bringing debris back to your property and then eventually having it picked up and removed from your property.
Yes, we do.
You did.
Is there any consideration to not bring it back to your property and take it right to the dump? And that would probably help on some of the noise for the neighbors around the property?
That is done on some that are close by. It comes back, it goes, and because we also compost it. So we also have a location down at Lake of the Ozarks. And so my husband will haul a lot of that debris down to our lake location and we compost it and we use it to make mulch down there. So it's a little bit of why some of it is left there. Some of it is, the big stuff that, is hauled to other locations.
Thanks. I just want to try and help find a common ground so your business can be successful and the residents behind you can have a nice place to live and relax and we can grow together in the community.
No, I 100%, that is what we want. And again, I mean, I live in a subdivision and no, I realize that if I had a business right next door that I would be just the same way. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. But we really are doing our best to be compliant, to do what needs to be done. And when we have been cited for things, we take it very seriously. Again, we've been working on these plans. We have talked with the city multiple times. And again, any suggestions on ideas on what you guys would do to make this different or better, moving the storage bins, I agree with you. I think that is, when I first saw that come up, that was actually my first thought, is that's the worst place it can go. That it needs to go somewhere more probably in the middle. We do have a lot of land that goes back. And it is beautiful space back there, so we don't want to go back too far because, again, it is beautiful. So, yeah, any suggestions? I mean, we are open to, so.
Ma'am,
Can you give me your name and address again, because I didn't get it the first time?
Yes, Stephanie Nelson. I am the owner of Nelson Land Service.
And your address?
I live at 945 Claycrest Drive, St. Charles.
All right. Mr. Seymour?
thank you. Oh, we had a grocery store open, and we restricted the hours that they could back a tractor trailer in because there was residents behind the grocery store, and we didn't want them in there at 5 o'clock in the morning waking people up, delivering. You maybe can think about doing something similar. Don't have any trucks operating behind your building between the hours of 6 in the morning or maybe at 6 in the evening. Give the residents around you, I mean, just be a good neighbor. Just be a good neighbor. That's all they're all here asking for.
And I
is just be a
I
good
understand
neighbor.
and appreciate that. And our crews, I mean, they do work a lot of time until 7 o'clock at night, and they do come back. Any of the hauling, the big stuff is done during the day. The snow removal, that is something that we will have to discuss and figure out because again, it only happens during snowstorms. But yes, when the trucks are coming in and loading the salt, I've been home when my husband comes home in the snowplow truck and I can hear it. I can hear the plows going by my house at night also, in our subdivision. So as far as hours, that is something that we will definitely discuss.
Also, I'm not sure how agricultural your business really is. It sounds more commercial than ag to me.
We have discussed
So-
rezoning. That has been something that we have discussed and that has been discussed with the city because we were talking about using part of the back and adding just a small little house. But there was the issue with both subdivisions, not having a correct cul-de-sac, and our property is kind of in the middle, which I think someone mentioned he has golf carts going through, which makes sense because there is the subdivisions do not connect, which was an issue for us. But yeah, I mean, it is something, I mean, we have been open to many things. We have proposed different plans, proposed different ideas, and again, every time we've been cited, which again has not been that many times, we've been cited for things. We have been working on doing it, which again, we were one of the things we were told to do was to get the driveway in the front done, which is what we were doing, and then we were told to stop. So again, it's just stuff like that that's just a little bit of miscommunication, that we're just, that we want to move forward to get this done so that our neighbors
Right.
can enjoy the peace and quiet.
The city doesn't really approve a lot of gravel for driveways. I don't know if we approve gravel at all for a driveway.
Nope.
It's concrete or asphalt.
It was to prepare it, getting ready for the asphalt, because there was a lot of grass, so,
You were doing that for a base, a road base?
yes, yes.
Okay. I would get with city staff and see what you can do to address, there's a lot of our fellow citizens here tonight. They wouldn't be here tonight if they didn't have a problem. And we can't
And-
solve all the problems, but we can.
No,
we
and
can get
I
with
know that
city
we can't,
staff
but we would
and
like,
talk about the things that
Yes.
we need to talk about with them and get as much of this ironed out as possible.
yes, and again, we are open to suggestions on ideas that you have, that, you're looking at, the proposed plan. Again, really, suggestions, we are willing to take them, listen to them, apply them. And yes, if there is someone from the city that can get in touch with myself or my husband, he couldn't be here tonight.
They're sitting right there, ma'am.
David Wood, okay? And, yeah, we can, go through this stuff, but the stuff that we have been given to be compliant, we have been working on. It is
Yeah,
not.
that would go a long
it is
way
not
for
going
me,
ignored.
because I'm not for voting for any of this tonight if we don't get some compliance first.
All right, Mr. Mayor?
All right. You may not like what I'm going to have to say, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway.
That's okay.
My suggestion is I would like to table this
Okay,
and have code enforcement and staff meet you out on site. We have a month till our next meeting.
okay,
Code enforcement and staff can go out and meet with you and Jamie, plus go over all the items that I suggested with the brick and moving everything and having them look at the trees and everything that's going to go on. It's going to make it a heck of a lot easier come next month that you come back to that podium and say everything is fixed, everything's gone, staff is satisfied with it. Because I can guarantee you, my guess is if this goes to a vote tonight, it ain't going through. That's just, I haven't asked any of these folks up here, but it's my gut feeling of what I'm hearing. So my suggestion, I'm gonna make a motion to table it, get with staff and code enforcement to get out to your place and answer your questions that you have.
that would be,
Plus-
that would be fantastic.
The storage facility, the shed, I would like some brick, fence all the way around, blocking off the streets so they're not coming through your property. And because, let me say what, if golf carts get on your property, guess whose fault it is? And they get hurt. It's yours.
Yeah.
It's not the city's, it's
We
your
did not
fault.
actually realize, I did not realize there was actually a golf cart issue. That was new. We've never seen them, but I do understand what you're saying.
So,
That is something.
until, I'm gonna let, if any of these other folks have something to say, then when it comes time, I'm gonna make a motion to table and see what, take the comments that I've made, what the rest of these commissioners have made, and what staff and code enforcement has to say within the next month, and you come back and give us the answers.
I would love that.
Okay, go ahead. Can we also double check that the level of business is being operated fits within the zoning requirement? Because then if we have this knocked out, but we're still operating outside the code,
That would be Mr. Woods and Ethan and Spencer and Stephanie, and they can go over all that.
Real quick, by no means, I know almost nothing about fencing materials, but I don't know if it's possible if we can enforce a sound deadening type of material in that fencing.
I don't
Is there a
think we
requirement?
can. I think it's just a 6 or 8 foot fence? 8 foot fence? I think it's just an 8 foot vinyl fence. That's, I mean, if they want to put it up to noise canceling, that's up to them, but, David?
The highest would be 6.5 feet.
Oh, 6.5 feet?
Yeah, site proof.
Okay.
I would also recommend that during this month layover period that you visit with this neighboring homeowners association and get some of these questions that they've got, because they're gonna have the same questions when we come back the next time. This isn't gonna go away.
No,
I would highly recommend that you meet with them, and you've got a month's time to do it, and I would think, if I'm not mistaken, the neighbors would like to hear from you.
I think that actually is a really great idea, and I'm going to be completely honest. I mean, we have had a couple neighbors that have called and complained. Again, we're doing the best we can. You know, yes, we run a business, but seeing the amount of people here tonight, speaking up, it actually was kind of it was a shock. I was sitting there like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize there were that many homeowners who felt all the same way. So I will say it was a wake-up call, because again, yes, you know, we have a couple homeowners that have called, you know, usually the same ones, but to see this many people, it really is like, okay, like what is the best thing for us and for them to do?
Mr. Mayor.
And I'm just going to ask the residents, please, when she meets with you, just don't badger her to death.
Thank you.
Let her listen to your concerns and see if she can help with your concerns. Just don't sit there and badger, because that's not going to get anywhere. So be polite, be respectful, because she's having come up and she's agreeing with what you guys are saying. All right. So we're gonna try and get this thing all figured out and bring it back next month. So when she meets with you, please be polite and respectful to what she's doing and try to understand what she's doing, and she's trying to be a good neighbor also.
And with that, Mr. Mayor, you have a motion?
With that, I make a motion to table. Wait a minute. You have something else, sir?
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with the noise. Other than trees, do you have any other plan for noise abatement? You might want to look at that and put it in your plan.
Okay, we'll do.
So,
Go ahead.
I want to make a motion to table until the May, first Thursday in May. I don't know what day that is.
Second best.
7th,
Huh? May 7th? What day is it?
7th.
May 7th.
May 7th? To that, and please get with David and Ethan, and they can get with code enforcement and get a date set up. And I agree with the vice chairman that I don't know, you got an HOA chairman out there?
Is there someone who can give me,
Is there someone who she can contact
that I can?
with?
Okay, I can do that.
You can get with them, and they can get the rest of the neighbors, and you meet wherever you're gonna meet. So, with that, and I don't know if you need all my suggestions, you can probably look over the minutes and look what they have to say.
Commissioner Bass?
Second best.
I have a motion and a second for requesting a motion for action on the site plan for 1414 Bryan Road, Nelson Real Estate LLC, property owner, to hold this for the next meeting, May 7th. All in favor, cast your votes.
No, it's just an all in favor, right? Do what?
You can vote like normal.
Okay.
Voting is closed.
Motion passes. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Frank Lita Honda, 520 Autumn Mall Drive. Request for consideration motion of action on the site plan approval for 520 Autumn Mall Drive. Frank Lita Honda, property owner, proposed use a parking lot addition. Do we have someone to present this to the commission? If you'll give us your name and address, please.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Clay Vance with Vance Engineering, and our office is at 10537 Lackland Road in St. Louis County. I have to apologize. I had the plan on a jump drive, and as I put my stuff into the basket out there, I realized it's still in my computer. So, unfortunately, it's a pretty simple request. It's about a 4-acre site. We're looking to pave just a little over 2 acres of it right now with new parking and curbs, et cetera, lighting. We've submitted the site plan and lighting plan that comply with the ordinances, the detention.
If y'all can hold your comments in the hall. I'm talking about the ones in here. All right, sir, go ahead.
Stormwater detention was already provided when the original development was built. This would be for additional inventory parking and to abate the violations that they've had where they parked on the gravel. You've had a long deal already, so I'd be happy to answer any questions and maybe make this short.
Mr. Seymour.
Thank you. Of course, that includes no vehicles in disarray.
Right.
Waiting to go into the body shop or car engines laying on the concrete. None of that.
This is primarily inventory parking. Probably what they will do is move some of their employee parking down there so they can have the new inventory closer to the building, but it's really to add inventory.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Seymour.
Second, Charlie Nagar.
Have a motion and a second for request for consideration, motion, and action of the site plan approval for 520 Auto Mile Drive, Frank Lita Honda, property owner, proposed use parking lot addition. Please cast your votes.
Voting is closed.
Motion passes. Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Next item is a public hearing, a request for consideration, motion for recommendation to City Council regarding the rezoning of 811 North Main Street, R1 Single Family Residential District to C2 General Business District. John and Jacqueline Ice, property owner, proposed use, plumbing contractor, and health services offices, and a request for consideration, motion for action on the site plan for property located at 811 North Main Street. John and Jacqueline Ice, property owners, proposed use, plumbing contractor, and health services office. We will hear this as one item, but vote on it in two items. To have someone to present this to the commission. Give us your name and address, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Drake Johnston. I'm with Bax Engineering. Our address is 221 Point West Boulevard, St. Charles, Missouri. I'm here to speak on behalf of the developer. The proposed project is located along Main Street. It's south of Tom Ginevra Avenue and north of St. Leo Drive, and it is right next to the Dairy Queen. The subject property has an existing zoning of R1, and we're proposing to rezone it to C2 commercial. The neighboring parcels to the south and to the west are zoned residential. If you look at our site and look at the neighboring parcel, you can kind of see there's a big culvert and creek that runs through our property and then runs through the property to the west. That really limits development on the western property and kind of blocks off the development on our property from the neighbor to the south. So the area to the west is currently heavily wooded with a creek, and like I said, it's pretty hard to develop. We're not seeing any sort of disruption there with our proposed improvements. Our proposed project would include adding pavement to what's existing on site. It is a pretty minimal addition. As you can see, it's this darker gray color. The lighter gray color is existing pavement on site. There's an existing building with a walkout basement garage, and then there's also a freestanding garage as well. We'd be adding a few other things, such as a trash enclosure and striping, as well as an ADA space to comply with code. And inside the business, there will be a plumbing business, mostly an office with some internal storage, and then the previously mentioned health clinic. This health clinic is mostly to deal with things like gut health. There wouldn't be any sort of lab services going on at this. It's mostly just kind of dieting advice. So people would come in, and if they have some sort of issue, they would go see somebody else like a doctor. With that being said, I would like to open it up to questions. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
All right, this is a public hearing, so if you'll hold your questions, members, we have one person that's asked to speak. A.C. Danoff, if you'll step aside, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, City Public Advocate. I have a couple comments about this property. First of all, The adjoining two properties, as the applicant had mentioned, are residential. We have to be very cautious and very careful of those existing residences as to not impede or insult or impede their property values. There have been some issues that have come up with this property. Number one, there was some construction project or construction being done without proper permits and proper approvals from the city. Another issue that has come up, are there people or persons currently living in this building? Or will there be people living in this dwelling in the future? Those were some serious questions that came up. I know there's been some problems with the property owner on both sides of the street, as the property owner owns both the east side of North Main Street and the west side of North Main Street. And then it was brought to my attention, I don't know if it's accurate or not, but Americans with Disabilities Act has this building, since it started out as a residential house and it was constructed around the property and added on in various directions, has the Americans with Disabilities Act been fully complied with in terms of ADA compliant sidewalks, ADA parking, and ADA entry into this building, especially if the use is purported or proposed use will be medical related. We want to make sure that the ADA is 100% compliant. For those reasons, I have some issues about the rezoning. I'll leave that up to you to flesh out and ask the applicant additional questions, hopefully have some debate and some spirited comments instead of an automatic vote. I think the public deserves transparency, debate, and understanding of this issue from start to finish to make sure that we get the final result and a good recommendation to the City Council. I'll close for now. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman.
That closes the public hearing. If the petitioner will come back and address any of those concerns at the moment.
Yes. I'd like to start off with the ADA compliance. So the owner has been working with city staff whenever he was improving the home to bring it up to ADA compliance. And we additionally, off of the sidewalk, as you can see here, we have striped off a path that comes into the front door. It does meet slopes for ADA compliance, so somebody in a wheelchair could make it up from the sidewalk to come into the new business. But as far as disturbing the neighboring properties, like I stated previously, the property to the west is heavily wooded. There's a large creek there's a very large depression that runs through that property, and it's not exactly usable. So there's nobody living nearby on the western property, and then on the south side, as you can see, that culvert with the creek does certainly limit how close that we could get to their property. So we are pretty far. We have, per staff recommendations, we have included a site-proof fence and some landscaping to the west, the rear of the property as well. So we'd like to do as best as we can to minimize any impacts, but I feel like we've done that.
Thank you. Does anyone on the commission have any questions? Mr. Seymour.
Thank you. You know, going from an R1 zoning to C1 zoning or C2, it's going to change a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to change your firewall requirements between structures, and it's going to require that you get permits through the city.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your client does understand that you have to have permits.
Yes.
Right?
And he's been working with
You
city
need to have
staff.
inspections. We have city inspectors that'll go out and do inspectors.
Come on.
So
You'll give us your name and address first, please?
Oh, John, my name is John Eyes. My address is 912 North Main Street in O'Fallon. My answer is I did get permits. Everything, that entire addition was permitted. At the time, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. I didn't know if I was going to leave it residential, move a bigger a family in or something, that's what but in the meantime, I was trying to cover both bases. As I was constructing it, everything was done per commercial code, like the subfloor. Subfloor had to have whatever 50 pounds per square inch or whatever instead of the normal 20 or 25 for residential. So I beefed up the subfloors. I had an engineer come in and come up with a fix for the existing house to beef that subfloor up. I made everything ADA accessible. I basically deal in commercial my entire career, 42 years in this, and I know what the requirements are. So I brought the grade up so that there was the zero entry, zero height going into the entrance. Whenever I put the bathrooms together, I made them all ADA compliant. Just everything I did, I was basically allowing for in case I ever wanted to go commercial. Like I said, I was playing both sides of the fence because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. Well, in the meantime, about 6 months ago, I sold the majority of my company. So now the new owner wants to make this commercial, and so that he can put up a sign. Right now it's residential, so I know I have a limited amount of sign space, whatever it is, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, whatever it is, but he wants to put up a bigger sign. And that's why this, I started, now my focus is turning this into commercial. But I was when I did all the permits, I put the addition on, everything was permitted. So that I don't know what they're talking about, no permits. Everything on this thing's been permitted, inspected. I've had multiple inspections inside. It's just,
Okay, well, you'll probably end up with a couple more inspections.
That's what and I know. So whenever I did it residentially, I didn't need a fire inspection because it was addition.
You will now.
So now it's commercial. I have to pull up. So I've got all the drawings. I'm ready to go. I just need to get it zoned C2, and then I'll submit all those drawings, and we'll work through all the little minutiae to get it up to speed. I understand it's an existing structure. Most of it was an existing structure, so I needed to bring that up. Whoops, sorry. And I know there's going to be other things that have come up, but for the most part, I covered all that while I was doing the addition and doing all the inspections before, and brought it up to pretty close to where it needs to be for commercial code. But I understand they're going to make changes, and the fire department's I already even had them out to kind of look it over, and they were discussing, what they may require. That until I get my drawings submitted, once it's zoned commercial, I won't know the exact extent of exactly what they're going to require. But
Well, I can tell you there's probably not too many businesses in town that are plumbing on one side and health services on the other side. So you'll be doing something probably. There's no other.
So it's kind of health, but it's my daughter-in-law that's going to own that, and it's just going to be 2 rooms basically that she's going to kind of take over, and she's more of counseling. They keep saying health or whatever, but it's her discussing with people. All right, now what kind of problem do you have? If it's this, this, and this, I suggest you go to this doctor. And if it's this, this, and this, so it's more of a counseling than any kind of clinic situation. So she just kind of discusses what is going on with a person and suggest people to go to.
Right, and you'll probably be required to have some exterior lighting because it's a commercial structure, and make sure you don't bother the residents. You don't want to flood their house with light.
Yeah, my resident, the whole thing is the whole structure is on the back, it drops off so bad that it's all unbuildable behind me. It's all heavily wooded. They can't, nobody, and he said, the ditch or the thing in between doesn't, I'm not affecting anything on the other side of that ditch. I don't.
The good thing is you're right next door to Dairy Queen.
Yeah. It's a lot of.
I don't have any issues going and visiting the site.
Right. Yeah.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, do I have a motion on the rezoning?
Motion to recommend approval, Link.
Second, Baust.
Have a motion and a second for request for consideration, motion for recommendation to City Council regarding the rezoning of 811 North Main Street, R1 Single Family Residential District to C2 General Business District. John and Jacqueline Ice, property owner, proposed use of plumbing contractor in health services offices. Please cast your vote.
Voting is closed.
Motion passes.
Just a reminder, you'll be at the city council for the rezoning next week.
Yes.
All right, do I have a motion for the site plan?
Motion to recommend approval, Link.
Second, Seymour.
I have a motion and a second for request for consideration, motion for action on the site plan for property located at 811 North Main Street, John and Jacqueline Ice, property owner, proposed use, plumbing contractor, and health services office. Please cast your vote.
Voting is closed.
Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Next item is a public hearing for a final plan for property on Gallup Lane, Caballo Farms. We have one item under that. It's a request for consideration motion for recommendation to the City Council regarding the final plan for property located on Gallup Lane to be known as Caballo Farms. McBride Land Growth LLC, contract purchaser, proposed use, residential development. I have someone to present this. Could you give us your name and address,
Hello.
please?
Yes, my name is Katie Peruka. I'm with McBride Homes. Our address is 17415 North Outer 40 Road in Chesterfield, Missouri. And I'm happy to be back here this evening. With me tonight from McBride is our Director of Engineering, Christian Miller, and then Jamie Henson is our engineer on the project. So hopefully between us, we can answer any questions that might come up. But yes, happy to be back here to present our final plan for Caballo Farms. Just a quick refresher. I know you've all probably heard our little spiel, but I always like to just, for those who aren't as familiar with us, share a little bit about McBride. We're celebrating a big birthday this year, 80 years in business, developing in over 40 different communities. Certainly no stranger to developing in the city of O'Fallon. We're really happy to be back, really excited about our Caballo Farms project. Just a quick refresher about the site and kind of how we landed here. So this site is 94 acres roughly. We just received our zoning approval. We're zoned R1 PUD and our annexation just about a month ago in February. This project will contain 276 single-family residential lots. Those will be kind of divided into 3 different villages, which will feature 3 different product lines. So we have our 60-foot wide lots featuring our Oakwood series, 52-foot wide lots featuring our Bayside series, and 40-foot wide lots featuring our Heritage series. So different price points, a lot of different variety. Just about 40 acres of this 94 acres is common ground. So if you recall, we were able to preserve a ton of green space, a ton of trees, and work around the natural features of the site. We will be offering some amenities in the community, including a playground. There will also be a covered pavilion. And in the amenities area, that's where we will have our CBUs, which will be lighted with parking. And then there's also going to be a lake on the property. And the property will be accessed via Deer Road, which we will be extending into the community. And then there'll be a second entrance through our harvest community, which is currently a stub street, but we will open that up and connect there. So I'll skip that because I'll be reading it. But so here is our proposed plan, or our proposed final plan. This should look familiar to you all. Let me see, there we go. You've seen this when we came through with our area plan for zoning. Just a few things that we needed to note, which I heard Ethan cover in the prior meeting. But we did move just 2 lots. I don't know, can you see my cursor? That were here. We moved them up here to avoid a creek bank setback. So I can, and I'll I'll scroll to our previous plan so you can see where those were in just a bit. And then also up here, we did have a cul-de-sac. We have revised the plan to make this a T turnaround. And again, I will show you what we're going to be submitting and proposing, but the purpose is for a future connection to an additional parcel up here that we plan to develop. A few more notes. We did submit a traffic study. Staff has reviewed it. I believe they noted that in their staff report. They do not have any comments. And just a note that staff is recommending approval of the plan, and staff noted that the plan is in conformance, substantial conformance with the area plan that was previously approved. So just so you can see for reference, this was the area plan that had a few more lots here. These were the lots that we moved up this way. And this was the cul-de-sac up here in the northernmost corner that is now a T turnaround. And this is what you will be seeing soon. Stay tuned. We're in the process of submitting for zoning and annexation. This is 14 more lots. So this will be an extension, or we're calling it an addition to this Caballo Farms community. But this allows for a connection there too. So without further ado, that's our plan. I think we've already discussed amenities. You've seen these sort of stock sample photos, but again, we've got a pavilion area, playground area, the CBUs, some additional parking. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. I understand it's a public hearing, so happy to listen to folks in the room as well.
All right, it is a public hearing, so if you'll step aside, AC Dinoff is the only person that's requested to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Arnie C. AC Dinoff, City Public Advocate. We lost the battle in the rezoning, and we lost the battle from R1 to PUD, Plan Unit Development. I am happy that 40 or about half of this property is going to be green space, and they're not going to be touching the tree for tree preservation. I like the amenities that they're adding to this site or this development. I do have some serious concerns about flooding. The letter of map revision from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, there are major flooding concerns and mitigation that needs to be addressed. I don't know if it's been addressed fully in terms of the M4 requirements of both the Missouri Department of Natural Resources and our City of O'Fallon Code of Ordinances, but those are some pretty tough requirements. We want to make sure that things are done to a T and that the I's are dotted appropriately, so we don't have any flooding of these residences in terms of their basement or other capital improvements that are being built on this in this neighborhood, this subdivision. Now, when it comes to the retention detention, I would ask that the commission and staff look at building this to a minimum of a 100-year flood event, and I'd like to see a 200-year flood event that we just approved for another development along a major creek on Mexico Road with another developer about 6 months, or maybe it was last year. I think that's very important in this flood area, in this flood region. The other issue I wanted to talk about is the cul-de-sac that the applicant's architect or engineer had spoken about. There are requirements that need to be met. I want to make sure that this new T crossing, I had some concerns about the cul-de-sac, but now it's a T section. Number one, is the Wentzville Fire Protection District going to be able to bring in a ladder truck and adequately maneuver and turn around or back up if they are needed for fire protection services in this neighborhood? And the other question is, with the Wentzville School District bringing in bus service to pick up students, is this T going to be constructed to necessitate the maneuvering of a school bus? Those are some questions that haven't been answered by the applicant, and I think they need to be answered. So number 1, flooding. Number 2, retention detention. And number 3, requirements of the Wentzville Fire Protection District for a ladder truck and the maneuverability of a bus from the Wentzville School District. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman.
I'll close the public hearing if the petitioner will come back to the podium and address any of those concerns.
Sure. I mean, I would just offer that obviously we will be, in our improvement plan phase, we will be designing everything in compliance with the code and all fire requirements. So I don't know, Christian or Jamie, if you want to talk about flooding, but I mean, or detention, but everything will be in compliance with city code, so.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor.
Problem is there's a condition on there that, you know, you have to have the LOMAR approved before any building's put up anyways.
Right.
That takes care of.
Before we could even get a permit, right.
Yeah, so that takes care of the flooding issue.
Mr. Bath.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Just had a question on the access to the lake. It looks like it's just a common area, no sidewalk, no benches or anything around the lake. Am I seeing that correctly?
That's correct, yes. As of now, yeah.
Is there any intention to actually have it so the residents use the lake for anything? Like, are you stocking it with fish, or is it just a
Yeah, my
body of
understanding is
water?
we are stocking it for purposes of maintenance. But I mean, it will serve as detention, but also, you know, we view it as an amenity. And, you know, it will be a beautiful, a beautiful lake for the community to enjoy. I mean, just from an aesthetic standpoint, they can certainly access it through common ground. Will there be any paved, you know, paved walkway or sidewalk? I don't believe we have plans for that as of now, but.
The reason I ask is we just recently had another subdivision be built, and some of the residents that bought in that subdivision were unaware of some of the things, and it was sold one way and delivered differently.
Gotcha.
And if this is being sold as a lake and there's nothing around it to actually enjoy it, is it really just a retention area of the water, or is it really a lake and to be fun to enjoy? I just want to make sure we're talking the same.
Sure.
If you'll give us your name and address, please.
My name's Christian Miller, address 17415 North Outer 40 Road in Chesterfield, Missouri. Just wanted to answer your question on the bench. There will be a 10-foot safety bench around the lake, so people will be able to walk around it and enjoy it. So if that answers your question, but
So there's going to be a walkway around the lake where they can.
there will not be a walkway per se, nothing paved or an official trail, but there will be a 10-foot safety bench, which will be a flat area where someone can walk around the lake.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Lane.
Thank you. Question, timing-wise, is this a phased build-out? When does construction start if approved?
Sure, this will be a phased build-out, and I don't know timing. I would say just we would start right away. I mean, unless you know anything otherwise, Christian. But yeah, this would certainly be phased.
Okay, yeah, so my concern once again is we've had, you know, a lot of growth out there. You have Harvest, which is going on, I don't know, it's maybe its third done. Now we have Caballo Farms, we have Trailside, which is the county. It's a lot of growth really quick, and the infrastructure's not there yet. Are you guys contributing at all to Highway N or Dyer Road to try to accelerate those?
Sure. So we will be paving Dyer Road as it's shown on the plan, like in terms of we will be extending it to access our community. I know I heard in the preview meeting a question about, you know, if Dyer Road is extended through our property. There is, and you can see on the plan, there will be right-of-way dedicated on the plan for if and when that is ever, it's decided that it will be extended. And I know that there have been a lot of conversations with the city, the county, with McBride. There was an agreement reached. I don't think it's been papered yet. I actually think the city is drafting that agreement. But I know that McBride will be contributing towards.
Because you have Post Farms on the north side also, and putting a lot of traffic on that road and slowing a lot of residents down. So, the land will still be there in, 10, 20 years. You could always halt development immediately. It's still going to be there.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Mayor.
Katie, I have one suggestion for you, especially what you were showing on Deer Road, the extension of Deer Road. That needs to be explained to those residents buying those houses. Because let me explain why I'm saying that. Because out in Wentzville, you have David Hochul Parkway. And some of those folks that are backing up now to David Hochul Parkway did not know that was going through. So there's got to be something in your display homes or whatever it is.
Sure.
And make sure that those residents that are butting Deer Road sign something in their contract or whatever, knowing that Deer Road will be coming through.
Sure, or maybe if it's decided, but absolutely.
But if you told me there's already an agreement,
there's an agreement.
I just need
I
to
don't
make
know
sure.
how that is
I think
structured.
it's going to come. Deer Road's going to come through there, whether it goes straight through
Sure.
or whether it curves up.
Sure.
Those folks just need to know Deer Road is
Yes.
going to be extended.
Yes, and I appreciate that suggestion, and we absolutely will do that. And we prepare disclosures for all of our homeowners for anything unusual or like heads up, just exactly it.
And I don't know
A
if
circumstance
it
like
is-
this. It'll also be it'll be noted on the plat. It's dedicated right away.
Well, because my son lives out there, and when he built it, I know it was going through, so he knows it was going through.
Sure.
But I think what the problem is, if somebody builds that house and then sells that house, those folks that are buying it does not know that's going through.
Sure.
So I don't know if it's something to do with the HOA that says, hey, some sort of disclosure that road's coming through.
Sure, understood. Yeah.
Ms. Stephanie, I have one question for you. This is a final plan. It meets all the codes and requirements. So this commission, there's no change to...
Discretion. Yeah, to change it. Yes, so under section 400.236.10 of the municipal code, there are 3 standards for a final plan. First of all, that it is in conformance with the approved area plan with certain minor modifications that are allowed, but it must be in substantially the same conformance to the area plan.
Which it is.
And that we have an agreement for dedications of roads and that kind of thing.
Which it is.
And then also that if it's going to be a phased development, that the first phases do not depend on adequate access and everything in subsequent phases. In other words, every single phase must have its own adequate access at the time that that's completed, which is the case here. So as long as it meets these 3 standards, then at that point, it must be approved.
Which all 3 of those have been met. Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve per SAC recommendations, Charlie Nagar.
Second, Baust.
Have a motion and a second for request for consideration, motion, recommendation of the City Council regarding the final plan for property located on Gallup Lane to be known as Caballo Farms, McBride Land Growth LLC, contract purchaser, proposed use residential development. Please cast your vote.
Voting is closed.
Motion passes. Thank you.
We'll see you next Thursday.
Thank you so much.
Next item on the agenda is the Villages at Springhurst, Plat 3 and 5, public hearing for an area plan, request for consideration motion for recommendation to City Council regarding area plan for the existing Springhurst Plat 3 and 5, Balaji Sithapathy property owner, property use residential development. Do we have someone to present this to the commission?
Are you ready to get beat up again?
Yeah, getting used to seeing me tonight.
Your name and address, please, for the record.
There we go. Got it. Again, Jamie Henson with Sterling Engineering. Here tonight to discuss this area in Springhurst. Springhurst, of course, as you know, has been built out for quite some time, except for this particular last condo area. This is the only vacant area in Springhurst. So the owner on the contract is proposing to build two condo buildings in this area. The original area plan and the original improvement plan's final plan was to be 4 individual buildings, kind of matching this area over here. And the owner on the contract is proposing the same amount of units, same 3 stories, but just combining 2 of those buildings together. So 2 buildings overall with a total of 48 units. There's a little blow up of that same area. The original development of Springhurst, we've got landscaping that was installed up in this area. All the pavement was installed with Springhurst development. There were some conversations about light standards from city staff. Those were also installed with the original development. If we need to move one or install one in another place, we'll be happy to do that. The plan is to use the pavement, the entrance, all the facilities as they were installed with the original development, with the exception of a storm sewer that would run between the separated buildings before. Now we're going to cover that up and we're going to remove that storm sewer. If we need to relocate that storm sewer out toward the parking lot, when we do the design, we'll figure that out. Here's a view of the area from Springhurst Parkway. This is the upper parking lot. There's a retaining wall. This is the building pad area that's installed, and this is the street for the lower entrance of the lower level. Our amended area plan, the only amendment to that area plan really is the buildings. So the first area plan had 4 individual buildings. We have 2 buildings with the same amount of units. There's a blow up of that. Again, the parking, the covered parking is all brought forward from the original Springhurst plan. It's identical. The walkways from the upper level onto the second level of the buildings are going to be the same. Trash enclosures located in the same spot. Like I said, the only difference is the buildings. These are the existing buildings in Springhurst, existing condo buildings. And you can see I showed this view because it shows the walkway from the upper level onto the second level of the 3-story building. And this is going to be the same situation on this particular parcel. These are existing trash enclosures in Springhurst. We planned on doing the same to be consistent. Staff has commented that we may need to provide a different type of enclosure, which will work with staff. This is the proposed building that is currently being built on a parcel in Dardine Prairie. So this is the proposed building for this area in Springhurst. And then we have actual construction drawings for this particular building, quite lengthy, of course. Let's see. So with that, I'm open to any questions you may have.
This is a public hearing, so if you'll step aside.
Yep.
We have one person request to speak, A.C. Dinoff.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, City Public Advocate. I'm highly and strongly opposed to this applicant for two reasons. Number one, if any of you live down in that neighborhood or know friends and family that live in that subdivision, Springhurst, there was a major fire last summer, and it decimated an entire building. So the fire spread rapidly, got out of control. There were numerous agencies from the Wentzville, Cottleville, O'Fallon, Central County Fire Protection Districts, including Lake St. Louis Fire Protection District, that responded to that call. It was a 2-alarm fire at the existing, one of those existing buildings. Going from 4 to 2 buildings would allow for more people to be impacted. God forbid if there was a fire, a kitchen fire, or some other fire that got out of control, like got out of control last summer in the same neighborhood. That's the first issue. I'd like to see this remain 4 buildings or more. The second issue, I'd like to see this property, instead of developed into condominiums, that it be small single-family housing that is needed in our community and needed in the southwest corridor of the city of O'Fallon. There's some issues under the conditions that put up a lot of red flags. The second issue is this developer has developed a similar product in the city of Dardine Prairie. Well, that project has turned into a nightmare. The code enforcement and the building commissioner of the city of Dardine Prairie have fought with this owner and this applicant over and over and over the last year about numerous things that weren't complied with the plans, with the fire code, with the building code, and I think they only have a few occupancy, if not any, at this facility. And I'd ask somebody to contact Jeff Amlong, the building commissioner at the city of Dardine Prairie, in reference to what is going on with the property over there. The issue on number 5 under the conditions, clarify what will happen with the fence and on the retaining wall. I think that's very important. Condition number 9, correct the setbacks on the eastern building. That's very important. Number 10, provide a landscaping plan. That is very important in putting the cart before the horse. Number 12, basically they're copying and pasting from the city of Dardine Prairie plans to the city of O'Fallon, and they think that they get a free pass and can get by with this issue. Number 13 is very important and puts up a lot of red flags. Will the existing remaining sewers, are they adequate, or will they need to be reconstructed? I ask that you,
Mr. Danoff,
I ask that you vote down this issue. Thank you.
With that, I'll close the public hearing. Petitioner, please come back forward to the podium, address any of those concerns.
Yes, as far as the fire, I mean, I know it's unfortunate, but these things do happen. These buildings will meet all fire code. As far as the landscaping goes, if there's additional landscaping needed, we will submit a landscape plan. The landscaping that's in place now was in place for this development, for this area plan. And it's actually established quite well. So, but if there's additional landscaping needed, we will be more than obliged. As far as the developer or the builder having issues in Dardine Prairie, that's something I can't speak about.
Any questions from the commission? Mr. Mayor.
Are these for rent or for sale?
These will be for sale, condos for sale.
And I do agree with you. You know, we can't worry about what's happening in Dardenne Prairie. I know our inspectors, they'll make him do the right thing. There's certain conditions that you guys have to meet in order for you to even start. So we're not going to give you approval to start until all those conditions are done.
Sure, absolutely.
Any other questions, comments from the commission? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Charlie Nagar, per staff recommendations.
Second.
Have a motion is second for request for consideration, motion, recommendation of City Council regarding an area plan for existing Springhurst Plat 3 and 5, Balaji Sithapathi, property owner, proposed use residential development. Please cast your vote.
Voting is closed. And, sorry, who was the second on that?
Did you get that?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is consent calendars, motion, recommendation of City Council regarding the following items relating to easements, right-of-way, or other public facilities or interests. First is the stormwater management and best management practices facilities, the maintenance agreement, Meadowood Estates Phase 3, and a boundary adjustment plat for Amberley Lots 115C and 116E, 522 and 523 Coppice Court. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Seymour.
Second, Boust.
Have a motion and a second regarding the following items relating to easements. Cast your votes.
Voting is closed.
Motion passes. I would like to recognize the gentleman in the audience who was here to answer any questions you might have had. Ryan McDonald, thank you, sir. And all other items as they may arise, Mr. Nagar, didn't forget you.
Yes, sir. Hey, thanks, Mike. I was just wanting to take a little bit of time and let everybody know that Kathy Halstead is retiring from City of O'Fallon from volunteer services for over 25 years. She's been working here, and that lady has done a great job. And I know whoever's going to take her place, maybe Katie, I'm not sure, but she's going to do a great job too. So thanks, Kathy Halstead, for all the work you've done for the City of O'Fallon.
No, sir. Mr. Woods, do you have a council update that's possibly not on the agenda?
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure how we missed that this time around. What do we have? Spencer was thinking on this.
Yeah, we had those two developments down in Winghaven, the senior development, that was approved, and the Lombardo subdivision also down in the Winghaven area was approved as well. And it's been several months since you all saw it, but the Sondern Street development, Stevenson Place, the townhomes, that was approved as well.
Yeah, and kind of following up on Stevenson Place. So that actually was denied. That site plan for Stevenson Place was denied by P&Z, and the plats will be having to reconsider that since the zoning and the CUP was approved by council. So that'll be coming back to the commission at our meeting next month.
Thank you, gentlemen. The only other item that I can think of would be next Tuesday is voting day in the City of O'Fallon. I would recommend that every eligible voter that's able to go vote. I haven't missed a vote in 54 years and don't plan on missing this one. Any other comments? We're adjourned.